Aha! Welcome everyone! Welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you who might be wondering what Drakenmemoria is, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons. Or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So this is, if this is not what you want to watch, well, you know, we've been here for over a year now. So if you're not used to it, there's really nothing I can do to help you for that. So if you're here by mistake, well, don't worry. Look to the left. There's a suggestion place where you can just go for other things. If not, well, it's because you're here. Because you want to be here. Or because someone told you to be here. Or a mix of the two. So, if you're here because you want to be here, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Oh yeah, the rain keeps on going. Yeah, you should be hearing rain. Isn't that cool? We got a new ambiance. Hey, we got rain now. If you're not hearing rain, I'm so sorry. I thought I fixed that. But I think
what we really need is wind, knowing our weather.
Yeah, well, you're in the mountain, so don't worry. I haven't finished with all of the rain things. I'm probably gonna find wind to add to this, but yeah. So now we have a light rain, which is exactly what the player have right now, where we stopped last. But before we get to that, as always, there's always a little thank you to everyone who is going to be here tonight, and those who might be raiding us. Usually that's just Chaotic Calling, who raids us maybe half an hour in. Sometimes 45 minutes in. But hey, if you know people, if you know another raid, especially one Dungeon and Dragon related that's playing right now, and you have some relation with them, why not suggest raiding us? It's always a pleasure to have more people, especially when you participate and write something in the chat. Apparently, last session we've had the most chat interaction, and for bad reasons I didn't see any of it. So I'm hoping that this happens again. Not me seeing it, but you writing things in the chat. I'm really hoping so. But yeah, that's about it. That's and of course the rain you're hearing comes from a website, Ambiance Mixer. All of these information you have in panels below the window if you're watching this on Twitch. Special thanks to, and there's a few plays there. You'll have Chaotic Calling that's there, and for the music you'll have the website for where you can either create or find ambiance music for your games or other things. And it is royalty free, so that's always nice. Yeah, that's about it. Alright, so I think that's about it. Yeah, let's get started with the with where we were. Alright, so last episode, the party finally decided to get going again, and they kept on moving throughout the day, even though there was a little bit of rain. Fisher and Remy both had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about Tery, especially Fisher, who now knows that Tery is intelligent. Not only that, he might be more intelligent than Fisher and Remy together. Again, the problem is communication. And an attempt was made. Basic words were taught to Tery, which were given to me outside of the game, just for expediency's sake. And well, that's about it. Remy went back to his training, But during the night, Audience was also visited by his god, also granting him a little bit more information about his own personal goals and quests, about a god who might be trying to rival his, and also a little bit of information about other species of dragon-related creature. And finally, as the day was ending, they managed to intercept scouts from the Hunter cult, who gave them a little bit more information, mostly about what was going to happen in a few days, and also the danger of what's going to happen in a few days, because there might be members of the cult in the city they're trying to reach, and the temple, the abbey they're trying to reach, also will not be lasting more than a few days. So either way, everything happens in a few days. But that was where we were. The group had just finished extracting their information from the from the scout that they had taken. Well, at least from one of them, because the other one got pulverized by divine smite, and the other one almost got the same fate, but our paladin managed to hold back just enough to make sure that he survived. Then he opened his own throat, and the result was the same, but with some information. And that's about where we are right now. Exactly right now. And as the music seems to suggest, yes, the group is under rain right now. I'm hoping at least it sounds like a small rain, because that's my intention when I was making this ambience. So it's a very gentle rain right now, because they're hidden in mountains. There's not much wind, but there is the rain. And this is where we are. And as a matter of fact, because I mentioned it during last session, Fisher and Remy, since you are those who can actually see this, well, I'll send it on our general chat so you can see it. There is a sample of what Tery's writing looked like, and I'll place the same thing on the for all of you watching who still haven't written anything in the chat. Come on, it'll be fun, I promise.
You can turn your head slightly to the left and Instaban on Twitch.
Alright, so this is an example of what Tery's writing looked like. And for those of you watching, this is what the players are looking at right now. So when I said that it looks like stars, I was not joking. So now you have a little idea of how difficult it might be for you to actually understand this.
Oh no, I have ideas. I've had a whole week to think about it.
Alright, so Jorg, Audience, Fisher, and Rainy, right now, what are you doing? You are maybe 50, 100 feet away from the rest of the caravan.
Oh. I guess Raimi very thankful that the rain is washing away all of the mud that he ran into on the way over. Now just like realizing that, oh, all four of us are here. Who's looking at the cart? And then he just starts running away.
Audience will also trying to be hurry back to the cart because he was basically told they have a couple of days until the monastery falls.
Yeah.
which means they should probably hurry to get to the monastery.
Yeah.
Jorg's gonna ride one of his summoned dire wolves. Or did he drop concentration on that? That was the first group.
You did. Did you cast it again?
Yeah, and then I got
did
dire
cast
wolves
it.
instead of regular wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll ride a dire wolf back.
Okay. All right.
Actually, that might mean that, by all accounts, Jorg gets back. Well, I guess Jorg would get there around the same time as audience,
Yeah.
and then Raimi gets left behind by like 10 feet per round.
Yeah, but like I said, you're maybe 100 feet away, so it's basically a single round. So don't worry.
Okay.
You're not completely behind. Audience and Jorg will arrive first, and then the round after that, you're gonna arrive, and the round after that, Fisher's gonna arrive. So
Nah, Fisher's doing the slow jog back.
doesn't want to rust, you know.
We come back to the cart, and we see there is a giant burnt hole where a cart used to be.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Like, God fucking damn it!
No, actually, when you arrive, you do see the caravan. It's still there, but everyone looks a little bit stressed out. You have Orunak, who is sitting on top of one of the crate, who seems to be looking outward on the opposite direction of where you're coming. His hands are in front of him, and he's sort of paying real close attention, as if something had just happened and he didn't have time to cast a spell, or something happened but didn't come close, so the spell never got cast. You do see also guards from the few remaining guards of the caravan, with bows drawn, arrow notch and drawn, and they're just looking right in front of them, same direction that Orunak is looking at. This is what you see when you arrive.
Raimi gives a wave.
Shoot it! No. Well, technically, Jorg and audience, you're the first one to arrive, with Remy arriving 2.5 seconds later. Jorg and audience, you arrive at the beginning of the round. Remy, you arrive at the end of the round.
And they're not. Were they looking towards us?
No, right now they're looking away from all of you, and there seems to be a little bit of tension among everyone as they're all ready to fire at something.
I want to look that way. Also,
Make a perception roll.
entrance to. Ooh, I got a mean 11.
11.
I guess I will roll as well.
That does sound mean.
Since I'm there. I'll also look in the direction they are
A
looking.
little before on the die.
Well, technically, 11 is not mean, because I think that when the slits are vertical, it's supposed to be happy.
That's a nat 20, so a 25.
Damn. They're just like.
Audience, give me sight beyond sight.
No, it's been weird recently. My perception rolls, I'm only rolling 20s on perception rolls, and then not again for the rest of the session. I think the last 3 sessions, my first roll has been a nat 20 on a perception, and then not again for the rest of the session.
Well, you gotta keep balance. It's just a shame that it's...
Yeah.
What audience is trying to say is he really wants to see those 20s on his attack rolls.
On those level 2 Divine Smites.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, if I'd that 20 level 2 Divine Smite in a Thief last game, that probably would not have...
He would have been a hamburger, yes.
He would have been gone.
Cooked. Divinely cooked hamburger. Alright, so Jorg, as you arrive, you look around and you don't see anything, but it's probably because you got a little bit of water in your eyes because of the rain, But audience, you arrive proud and ready, and it just so happens that Dragonborn have sort of small ridges right above their eyes, so protects you perfectly, and you see everything. First thing you realize is that there seemed to be one member of the caravan short.
That's not good. Do I know who?
It's not someone you talked to before. It's one of the non-combatant person. One of the person who was usually helming one of the cart.
Trevor, no.
Do I know his name? Have I heard his name in passing?
I'd say if you heard it, you didn't heard it as, "Hey, this is my friend," or you more heard it as, "Hey, Bob, can you give me something there?" And
alright, well then Ani's gonna have to do the awkward thing of being like, if he does an awkward thing, we have to do the awkward thing of turning to Kara and be like, "Where's that one guy who led that one cart?"
the guy with the beard and the...
Yeah, where's that guy?
Immediately you hear Ornak answer to you. He says, "Well, they just came, took someone, and left."
I mean, who's they? That's not descriptive of the neck.
Well,
Maybe he'd tell you if you said his name right.
Help. Audience refuses. Audience has called him it too many times and it's stuck in audience head. And I feel like it fits the relationship well. So I'm keeping it.
No, alright. So,
That's great, people.
so he looks at you and... Well, it's a dwarf. He's not much taller than, not about the same size as me.
A dwarf came and took him?
No, that's the person that got taken. Those that took them were people wearing black cloaks. It's pretty standard for people attacking your group so far.
Oh. So there were more of them, is what I'm hearing.
Right. So you actually managed to catch one.
We did, but he slit his throat on the while we were interrogating him. But we did get some information before he did so.
When you say all of this, you sense a moment of doom and gloom spreading throughout all of the others, the other dwarves of the caravan, sort of slit his throat.
Yeah, we need to get to the monastery as quick as possible because apparently it's gonna fall in only 2 days. Apparently the monastery is being attacked right now. We only have about 2 days to get there.
You hear the caravan master go, right, and who told you that exactly?
The cultist that we captured. But I have reason to believe that he was telling the truth since he then killed himself afterwards. And it was more of a statement of kind of, I think, to put be there's nothing you can do kind of statement instead of the I'm gonna lie and try and trick you statement.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, we're one person short to helm these cart. I guess, and he looks around, and you're going to have to man the cart. You see the dwarves go, No. You're replacing
Audience is like, I've driven a cart in my day.
You hear the dwarf, yeah, let him. He's good, he can defend himself. You see the caravan master just look at the dwarf and, alright, well, you volunteered, so I guess you get the cart. It's the middle one there.
Alright.
I volunteer as tribute. I volunteer as too.
Audience is like, my purpose. I am now the master of the cart.
Master of the cart, keeper of the zoo.
Alright, well, so, keep your eyes out. There was this guy with the cloak, but there was also a few wolves.
Alright. And when I rolled a 25, I didn't see anything like near us, like at least within eyesight.
No, you get the impression from what was just told to you and what you see. When you arrive, everyone was still nervous, so something had happened fast. No one was expecting it. Probably just a pounce from behind a rock, grab someone,
Alright.
pull him away screaming.
I'll turn to the caravan leader and be like, well, we should move as quick as possible. We only have 2 days, so let's head out.
Yeah, right. Come on, everyone.
The dwarf that was taken, he's
Nah, he's a lost cause. Yeah, he's a lost cause.
Clank, 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 clank. What's going on?
Apparently there were more of them, and they took that guy. And I'll point at the caravan, and now I'm driving this caravan. You know, that one dwarf guy. You know him. They took him.
Right. Are we going after him?
No,
When they
we're
take
not.
him?
I
What?
mean, probably not that long ago, but you know, we got to get to the monastery.
And you're just... I mean,
It's unlikely that we will be able to track down the dwarf and save him before anything can happen. We don't have time for a rescue mission. We need to save as many lives as possible, which would be, the monastery would be far more lives than one dwarf.
Then we find out that the monastery is empty.
And you missed everyone.
I feel like I'm also just saying this in the middle of like a bunch of dwarves, and they're just looking at me like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, look, we have to think about the metrics here.
guys, but I don't want to be cliche here, but the greater good.
I'm just saying, the general mood of this caravan has not changed in the last 10 minutes. You know, it's sort of a... There was a guy who slit his throat. There were shadow people who just came out and yanked someone up, and then those who protect us are saying that we should forget about a friend who just got dragged away. Oh, damn.
Yep.
It's cold. I'm not
Colder
talking
than
about
the rain.
Yeah. It's
Alright.
it is a
Yeah.
kind of imperative that we do thwart them, or else he will not be the last dwarf that goes missing.
Alright.
Raimi looks at the dire wolf, and Raimi looks at the tiger. The lion. Looks back at the dire wolf. Looks back at the lion.
They really couldn't... Oranak, how long ago was the dude taken?
Oh, it was really just 2 or 3 minutes before you arrived.
Yeah, what? They can't have gotten more than... like a couple 100 meters. Like, send your cat. Send the wolf that's still up.
I'll make
What
What are you
cat
doing?
see
We
if
can
they-
move. Send someone at least.
Alright, I'll send my wolves out to go
Okay.
look.
Alright. I will tell the caravan to start moving, but says I'll have a scout for the dwarf while they start up.
And yours can actually like talk through your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll
so-
tell my cat to go start scouting for try and pick up the scent of any dwarf who was captured.
Alright. Well, you get your cat, it just looks at you for a moment and looks at the rain. Yeah, that's gonna be easy.
I mean, 2-3 minutes. One of complete. I mean, you can also look for like paw prints and stuff because of the mud probably been created.
Just long enough to keep appearance, you know, it's... Keep
The
up
audience is more worried about getting to the monastery than one dwarf.
Right.
But he'll send his cat out to keep up appearances.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awful good.
I am lawful good. And I understand
It's a
that the
balancing
monastery...
act. Is one dwarf's life worth the risk of
It's worth the risk of
Monastery.
sending some small amount of resources at it.
yeah,
I am.
yeah,
I'm
you want my
sending, I'm
wolves to also
sending my
go low.
cat. If my cat can't pick it up, audience knows he won't be able to.
All right. Well, in that case, your cat and your dire wolves, that would be survival because it's literally trying to track something. So,
Okay, survival
hey,
is
we've got people talking to us in chat. It's so cool.
just the same actually for
Hi.
my cat.
Survival's
I roll.
wisdom. And I assume I'm rolling for them together.
Yeah, I rolled up for them as a group.
Did my roll not pop up there
Alright,
too?
they
Let's see what
got
my roll
a
was.
10.
Sorry?
With advantage.
Oh, with the
Oh, there it is.
They
Okay,
have
so let's
teen.
see.
Oh,
Whatever.
good point. A 10.
I got a 19.
Wow.
I rolled a
The
9.
wolves suck, my guy.
Actually, I guess I should roll.
You
Yeah.
feed them a lot of cheese. That's what's going on.
Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. I got an unnatural. I actually got an unnatural 20.
Okay.
Mm.
So, George,
I see
you,
how-
you point in a direction and send your wolves, and
See?
you just see them run off.
Cool. Well,
It's like, well, they're gone.
And yeah, you never hear from them again. They just audience. However, your cat, because he can speak to you and because he has a tendency to come back, you get a message in your mind, feelings of your cat picking up the trail of them and following them for maybe a good
I can send him up to a mile. I mean, I can send him up to a mile, so I can
Yeah.
say like just follow it for a mile because that's how far he can still talk to me.
a mile or 1,000 feet. I'm not sure.
No, it's a mile.
A mile. Okay.
It's really long.
All right. Well, yeah. That's. All right. So he moves. He moves quite a good distance. At least, I'd say 2/3 of his ability to move away and still communicate with you. When you hear him say, I think I picked up their trace. They're moving really fast. It's
what direction are they headed?
they seem to be going further into the mountain. They really went off the path and they crossed
All
back
right.
maybe 200 feet in front of the caravan before you all left, and then they just go in the mountains.
All right, I'll tell my cat to mark the spot where he has to like kind of mark the spot in the mountains where he saw them go in. But
All right, so animals all around see a giant cat peeing on a rock in the middle of the mountain.
I mean, it works if that's how he'll remember it. Then
That's how animals mark things.
yeah,
It's like, I peed here, so I'll remember it.
it's fair enough. And then he'll tell him to come back, and I'll turn to the fisher in the caravan and be like, "I think your dwarf friend was taken up into the mountains. That's where my cat left him, up to a mile away. We won't be able to get to him in time."
Wow, they're really moving fast.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Okay.
minor illusions. The special wolves that they have, like actually, literally the wolves they saw back at the camp when they were invaded in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I imagine. I'd say you put one put a dwarf on one of their back, and probably can go pretty fast and pretty long.
Have we not been moving
Yes.
the whole time?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have.
You've
Okay.
been moving through all of this time. This is why the cats say that the trace crossed back the road maybe 300 feet away and then kept on going, because you've kept on moving. It was just relating to a curve that they took. But yeah, you've been moving. Even for a mountain lion running, 2/3 of a mile is not something that happens in 10 seconds. And he was tracking, so he's going at half speed. It's I'd say probably a good 30-45 minutes before audience got this information. So you've been traveling a bit. So you hear the caravan master just look around and, alright, well, we gotta be careful. For some reason, they want more of us. Alright. So,
I bet it was a.
Curiously, one of the
Oh.
cult members was a red-headed former siren.
okay. This. And, alright, so, anything else that happens today? Well, that's a fairly high number. Yeah. Alright. So, you keep on moving, and you eventually get to the place where the road forks, when you know that you're about an hour and a half from the small village where you've been told that there's a small army of rogues waiting for people and ambushing them as they enter. But I believe you said you wanted to keep on going, not deal with that right
Yeah.
away. Alright. Maybe
Especially
something.
now that we know
Yeah.
we're under a time limit.
So maybe something for the return trip. Okay. So you keep on going, and after a few hours, the sun slowly starts to set, and apparently the rain keeps on ramping up. So let's increase the sound a bit of that rain, because it's apparently got to be a whole lot rainier. So you arrive nearing the end of the day, and shadows grow long everywhere. But you're in the mountains. Unfortunately, since it's raining so much, you can't see the sun. So you are in a beautiful place, but you can't see the sun setting. You just see the light slowly starting to dim and dim and dim. And you can't help it, but there is a sense of, yeah, this is not interesting, because you start seeing shadows everywhere around you. It's just appearing from different rocks. Sometimes you just take a moment, look at it really hard, and okay, no, that's just a shadow from the rock. But as the night keeps growing and growing, and the caravan eventually stops, you do realize that the caravan is extremely nervous right now. Very unsettled, jumpy at almost any sound and any large shadow they can see. The caravan master eventually just addressed the entire group, saying, well, we have to spend the night here, so we don't have any choice. Make sure that you are armed, ready in case something attacks. I am sure our defenders and defending mercenary... Lord, I'm having trouble with my voices. and I'm sure our defending mercenaries will most likely be standing guard. And he looks at you, audience, for a moment with a "please say that's what you're gonna do" look in his eyes.
We can stand guard.
By the way, what's the current caravan count excluding the party?
Right now, you have, excluding the party, I think it's only 9 members left. Only a few defenders and 2 people for each caravan. 1 for each cart. One cart only has 1 person, and audience covers the other one. So it's 6, 7. Yeah.
And how many of them are non-combative?
Right now, there's 5 of them are not combatant. The caravan master seems to be knowledgeable of combat, but not high level. The defenders, which makes up 3 defenders right now, seems to be a bit of a higher level. Trained in meta number, it would be probably around level 3. That's about it.
Alright. I think we should set up the cards in a circle and have people set up their tents inside, non-combatants in the middle, and then we will take up the perimeter, and Ramiel can do your dome somewhere, wherever you think is best.
Right.
Yeah, just like essentially like as Rami is like assessing, he kind of like starts grouping the 5 non-combative ones and kind of minor allusions to the dome that they should recognize.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them looks completely clueless when he looks at you, but the other one's just, right. Impenetrable energy dome. Yeah, right, that's a good idea.
It's like, you know what, maybe let's not put the non-combatives immediately in danger if we're in attack.
Okay, so I believe that we all have to be near the one that casts it. So you suddenly find yourself surrounded by 5 dwarves looking at you expectantly as you are slowly taking out all of the things that you need to make the ritual spell, asking them to huddle up around you to protect you from the rain as you're slowly...
Yeah, I just want to imagine just like, because they're all about his same height, so it's just like I just want to imagine like these five burly dwarves like maybe being uncomfortably close to him, just like all right, jeez.
You get 2 of them that takes a large tarp and just hang it above your head. Here, if it helps, cast faster. Go ahead. So you start casting, and after 10 minutes, you see the dome just form around, and suddenly you get 5 dwarves. Well, it's not roomy, but at least it's dry and protected. Alright. One of them turns to you and says, can we make a fire inside?
From... I'd actually need to double check, but I don't think the dome necessarily like locks in smoke, so I think Raimi would give a nod.
Okay, good. Alright, so get a few things and we'll cook meal inside of here. Alright. So, dwarves gather around and they start cooking the meal. You see the defenders, one on each cart, looking in, because there's only 3, so one looking in each of these 3 directions, looking outward. How about you, audience, Jorg and Fisher? How are you going to spend the night?
I say we each pair up with a caravan guard.
Yeah.
Sounds
I mean, I'll
good.
do a triple, because I'll have my cat come with me.
Which he has probably caught back with the caravan by this time. You still had half a day and it only took maybe an hour before he finds something, an hour to get back, so he's probably been back with the caravan for a good 2 or 3 hours. Alright, so you all pair up and the defenders look at all of you and says, well, since we're all 2, how about we, it's not gonna be a good night, but if you think you don't mind not regaining all of your casting ability, we can just you sleep a little and I'll sleep a little. Half a night, half a night. It's only gonna be half a night in total for each of us, but at least we know what's happening. We're gonna be a bit more tired tomorrow, but you hear
Try
one
and
of the
finish it out on the cart in the morning.
you hear one of the dwarves saying, "I don't think my partner's gonna be tired tomorrow." He looks at you when he says that.
Audience will turn to the guard and be like, "Don't worry, we can sleep more because my cat can take up parts of our shift. Because he can, even if I'm sleeping, he can communicate with me if he sees something."
Right. I heard about these magical mounts. Okay, yeah. So,
Also
He can
between
probably see
Ornak
better
and I,
than any of
we
us
have
anyway.
2 that don't need to sleep. So we can I don't know, use us to cover when other people need to sleep.
right. Yeah, that's good. You hear the defending dwarves. And yeah, all right. That's gonna be good. So everyone's gonna be in relatively good shape tomorrow. That's a good news. All right.
Because Jorg, how are you doing on spells?
Well, I've used up my level 3s, but I've got a good amount of level 1 and level 2 spells.
Then yeah, you should try and get a full night's sleep.
All right.
Yeah.
So
We'll try and cover for you.
if you juggle with Fisher, Arunak, and what's the name of your cat again?
My cat's name is. I have it in my notes. Is Magna.
Magna. I had Magnus in my mind, but in my head, so I wasn't told so far. All right, Magna. So if you juggle with Fisher, Arunak, and Magna for giving a little bit of time for everyone to sleep, they're gonna have the longer shifts. But then again, for Fisher, it's not a problem. For Arunak, he only sleeps whenever he goes back to his realm, and for Magna, well, it's a magical mount. He might be a little tired tomorrow, but he doesn't need to cast spells, so...
Incidentally, Olnak's just gonna have, like, the most beautiful flowers by the end of these days of rain.
Well, at least maybe it's gonna be something else, but yeah, something's gonna be growing in there. All right. So, slowly, the night completely creeps in. You're all alone with the rain outside. And I will have each one of you, Fisher, Jorg, and Audience, and Magna, make a perception roll and see how this is going to go.
I didn't trust myself to use a normal die, and I still got a 13.
Nope. 8.
Okay. So during the night, Fisher, did you do anything special that would justify this? Maybe you decided to take Tery out when you were bored, or...
Nah, I think it's just dark.
Yeah, you know, darkness, it's a surprise, but I think it happens.
I try and use light, but it's raining. It's dark. I don't have dark vision. I don't know what's going on. My eyes get all fogged up.
Yeah, you know, it just gets inside and...
No defrost on the inside.
Yeah. It happens. Alright, and Jorg, what did you roll?
13.
Okay. Audience?
Was I rolling separately or together for my cat?
Well, since you're not gonna be doing your shifts at the same time, it's gonna be separate.
Well, my cat's always going to be awake, though, so I mean, kind of.
Okay. So for your cat, it's gonna be for all of his shifts, and for you, it's only gonna be for
Okay,
your
so
shift.
for my cat, I rolled also. I mean, I'll just say, audience rolled an 11 for the part he's awake, but my cat, who will be awake the entire time at the same spot, rolled a 23.
Alright, so for the moment where you have Fisher that's completely aware, which say is the beginning of the night. Fisher, you want to be the most aware at the beginning, middle, end?
Oh, probably the beginning.
Alright. So for the beginning of the night, the rain is a little bit heavier and you're having trouble seeing anything. As far as you can tell, everything seems to be okay. You don't see anything in particular. After that, and second, who takes the second part of the night? Jorg or Audience?
Jorg can do it.
Second, okay. So you said you rolled
13.
Okay. Well, for the time where you are the main watcher, you look around and you feel that darkness all around you, knowing that your enemies seems to be very close to darkness, and you can't help but to feel this oppressing presence everywhere. You're never sure if when you see a shadow, it's actually really a shadow or someone watching you hidden in the shadows. But nothing happens, as best as you can tell. Audience, your night mostly resembles Fisher's night. You don't see anything when it's your turn. You just look around and everything seems to be there. You're confident of the light, so you're not afraid of shadows. Look around and feels like nothing happens. Probably scared everyone off. For the last part, and also for most of the night, however, your mood, Audience, would most likely diminish a little bit, as Magna will warn you three times during the night where it's convinced it saw shadows moving.
Okay. So audience will take that with the 20. So he'll say that his cat probably most likely there was at least something out there.
Yeah. You were being watched at several moments during the night. There was even a moment where one presence, Magna would tell you that one present got really close. And as soon as it realized that there was a guard there and there was a risk of being seen, Shadow moved away. It looked a little bit large, not just a scout size.
Okay. So audience will kind of assume then that he's going to assume it's the hunter cult. He's going to also assume they know the caravan's location. All right.
But nothing attacks during the night. And you are all relieved when suddenly the morning comes up and, apparently there's no longer rain. Oh, but I don't have normal ambiance music. So now we're just gonna go with no music at all.
Oh, good. It was going to be super awkward when, at the end of the Lehman's tiny hut, just drops down. It's just like, psh.
All right, and from the comfort of the tiny hut, Remy, you had a cozy, dry night. You even had a warm meal prepared by the dwarf, given to you, while Fisher, not Fisher because he doesn't need to eat, but Jorg and audience got a slightly cold, maybe more wet meal than they thought they would have. You wake up in the morning, it's a little bit uncomfortable. There's a humidity in the air. But other than that, it's not so bad. No one seems to be missing. Jorg and audience seems to be at the end of their night. At least you hope so. Fisher is doing his normal sentry thing.
Maybe just puts his arms on his hips, puffs his chest a bit, just feeling proud of himself.
Audience is going to mention that they were being watched last night.
Oh, watched is better than attacked.
Yeah, they know our location, though. They're definitely out there.
Yeah. Caravan Master, when you say this well, we're just a day away, so it's faster to get to the monastery than to get out of the mountains. So let's finish this, all right? Everyone grab something to eat. We're gonna eat very light this morning and let's move off.
Alright.
So then Raimi eats
prepared. Audience is gonna be prepared for anything today. It sounds like the monastery might be under attack, so we don't know what kind of situation we're getting into. So everyone be on your guards.
You hear the defenders just go, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, okay. Yeah. Alright. So, every members of the caravan goes back to their designated position, one guard on each of the cart. Two of the cart manned entirely by dwarves. Audience, you share the place with another dwarf on your cart. Olenak, Jorg, and Fisher, well, Olenak sits on one of the cart, but Jorg, Fisher, and Remy, I don't know exactly where you want to be in this. Walking beside, sitting on a cart,
Walking.
walking.
Oh, you know what? Remy will sit with Olnak, keep them company.
Ah, right. Hey, I heard you had fun in your dome thing.
Just so Remy nods and kind of like just because the player wants to know, looks up at Olnak's branches.
Well, he looks very healthy, and as he looks at you, he just raises his feet, and that was pleasant. And he wiggles his toe as he's doing this, but of course, it's the toes of an elemental tree, so it looks like long, weird roots just wiggling at the end of his toes, where his toes would be actually. Just, that was pretty good. It felt great. A little bit of rain, a little bit of fresh air. Didn't see anything. Well, that's not exactly true, but nothing that needs to concern anyone.
Me neither.
You get Orunak and Remy both looking at you as you pass by, just randomly saying, "Me neither."
Just an awkward stare. Looks back up at Olnak, shrugs.
He does the same thing. Well, we're going to be stepping inside of the den of the enemy, apparently, so stay sharp. He looks at you, Jorg. I said stay sharp.
I can do that. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Well, you slept well enough because of...
Yeah.
So you do regain your spells. You did have your long rest.
I didn't get a full... Oh, cool.
You did have your long rest.
You were just wet and cold on the inside and outside, but beyond that...
Yeah. There's a little bit of dampness in your clothes. It's... damn. It wasn't a super comfortable night. You are a little bit sore in some places, but you kept the evil at bay. Or darkness, anyway.
Burn out.
All right. Oh. Right.
Uh-oh.
And that's when the fireball comes crashing down.
No, I just rolled for the second part of the day. So, for the weather of the second part of the day, just so that I have my entire day
Another
and I know
hurricane.
the evolution of it. So, as you all get to the caravan, you are all handed things to eat. Fisher, you got a dwarf that just distractingly shoves a piece of jerky in your hand and moves away. Didn't even look at you before doing this. Feel like it was just mechanics.
I tear a bit off. Knock the code for food on Terry's box, drop it in, and then hand the rest to somebody else.
Okay. When the box opened, you just see Tery looking at you, and you hand him the food, and in return, he taps the appropriate number of time for the word safe.
I'll tap it back.
He looks at you for a moment. Make an insight roll.
Okay.
Yeah, the DC is going to be a bit high. You're trying to incite a worm, but still.
9.
You look at him and... You know, he's your son. It's hard to read him. Just like you.
That's what happens when you have a kid at 3.
Dad, I've been
not very
watching you.
experienced.
Dad, ain't that cool? I'm your buckaroo. I wanna be like you.
All right. So, you see him look at the piece of jerky for a few moments, and there's a moment of, he cocks his head right, he cocks his head left. Then he tries to eat it, and you get the feeling it's very chewy for him, because you just see this little part of between the front and midsection just going a little bit wider than smaller, wider and smaller, wider and smaller for a long time. You even get a feeling of at one moment looking at you and but eventually he swallows it.
He's got a lot of acid. He'll be fine.
All right. So, who among you are taking watch? Are you all trusting the dwarves to see everything?
Jorgs had bad luck seeing.
Oh, because it's a little more important currently for me to be able to see stuff than to figure out what's going on with Tery, could I have switched Terranad back to perception
Sure.
in the morning?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, Raimi is watching the rear with a 17.
Okay. Fisher, do you roll for perception or?
That is 25 with a nat 20.
Wow.
Jorgle.
All right,
Now
guys,
it's light
gotta
out. I
prepare for
can
that.
see.
My cat will, of course, be
All right.
on watch.
So we basically have someone watching every side. So Remy looks at the back. Who's looking at the front? There needs to be someone.
Jorg can watch the front.
All right.
Actually,
With
I guess if
15.
I've been thinking about it though. Wouldn't audience be watching the front since he's like driving one of the carts?
I'm in a cart in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're watching every side equal.
I'm just in the middle.
In the middle of everything. All right. So Jorg's looking front. Fisher, where are you looking?
I guess I'll do back.
Well, Remy's looking at the back. So
Oh,
sides.
the side then.
Which,
Yeah.
I guess my cat will do the other side
Okay.
with a 19.
Good lord. The sides are really well watched after. Alright, so throughout the day, okay. Yeah, that's obvious. Alright. Apparently the dice wants to make this a little theatrical. Alright. So, as you are all watching around, so obviously, Jorg, you don't see a lot. Look in front, and yeah, it's front. There's rock. Look at this rock, it's nice. Hey, and there's a little bit of granite in this one. It's cool. You get the dwarf looking at you, one eyebrow raised. It's clearly not marble. For everyone else, who basically rolled higher than George, the day is a bit unnerving. Fisher, with an actual 20, a total of 25. I'm gonna get to you at last because you're the one who sees most. So audience 19 and Remy 17, is that it? Right.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with Remy first. You're pretty confident that you're very focused on your watch, looking around, making sure nothing follows you. As far as you can tell, the first half of the day looks pretty calm. Nothing that would indicate that you're being followed from behind. Audience, you do pick up from the left side. Apparently you're always looking at the left side because that's always where the action is. Sorry. You do see at one point two shadows following. One looks large and the other one looks much less imposing in relatively speaking to the other shadow. But they don't follow for a very long time. Maybe 10 minutes and then they just go back inside toward deeper inside the mountain. But something definitely followed for a good 10 minutes. Fisher, you're probably the one that sees something that is both odd but not distressing. As you're looking on your side to the right and paying really close attention, also listening to Tery just pointing out a few things. With a 25, which I would imagine is with Tery.
Yeah,
Okay.
with me it'd be a 22.
At one point, you're looking slightly toward the front, and you hear Tery go, "Something's following us. Just turn your head maybe 15 degrees. It's a good distance. But this is different." Of course, since both of you are linked together, you look in the direction and you immediately see this. There's this shape. The way that it moves, it doesn't move like Remy would. It feels very martial in the way that it moves, as in martial arts. But you barely make it out. 25 was the DC to see this. So it's really barely registering. You even see it jump. You know you're supposed to hear it touch the ground because it's a very impressive jump. You just don't hear it touch the ground. You see the shadow just go. You don't hear it touch the ground.
So, seems like some kind of monk or close to.
Yeah. You've seen people move like that in the garden, mostly in people like Amiali, and also a bit Longshot, which much less training, but he stills move very similar to that.
How far away are they?
About 150 feet away.
And they're following like the whole time, or
you lose sight of
I just...
you lose sight of them quite a few times, but they always come back. They never get closer, and they never take an aggressive posture toward the caravan moving. But as far as you can tell, when you reach midday, and you can sort of start seeing the city drawing itself in the horizon, you know you're maybe 3 or 4 hours away, it's still following. And you've been seeing glimpses of this for a good 2 hours now.
I will make everyone else aware. But they don't seem hostile, or they just are watching and haven't attacked yet?
They're not making threatening moves toward the caravan. That's as far as your perception allows you to see. From that distance, it's really hard to know, do they have weapons drawn? Are they using anything to communicate with someone? It's really hard to tell, especially seeing as they are extremely stealthy. But they haven't made any subtle attempt at moving closer to the caravan. It seems very content staying so far away that only magic would allow you to reach it within 10 seconds.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I'll let everybody else know, but we gotta keep moving.
Well, the mood certainly goes down a little bit when you warn everyone that a shadow is following this group again from such a distance that there's very little you can actually do. Jorg, audience, and Remy, is there anything you'd like to do when Fisher tells you of this?
No, not a problem we can deal with at the moment. Just gotta keep moving, basically.
Yeah. I bet they're trying to bait us into slow us down.
I mean, exactly how much detail is Fisher giving? Just the fact that someone's following?
I'll give what I know. They are very good, and they seem to be probably some kind of monk.
So,
I'd say for reference, Remy, since you've seen also a bit of the underbelly of martial arts, when he says monk, you also have a voice in your mind telling you, or ninja.
So, one or the other.
Well spotted. I can't see anything in this.
It's the humidity, it's going up, it's getting in your eyes. And
Well, you're used to trees.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me an excuse.
No problem.
You see one dwarf looking at you from 5 feet away, just,
Raimi is going to turn ahead to uh the caravan master and call out, "Do the ants watch the hill?"
You get a pause for a moment, and I'm not sure what it means, but I'd say we are watching. Which hill exactly?
He's going to repeat in the caravan master voice, "Monastery."
All right. We should be arriving very soon. The monastery is just maybe an hour out of the village, of the city, on the other side of it.
Raimi just
Do you
has
know
a sad
much
look on his
about it?
face.
Not a lot. I haven't gone here many times. I know that there's only one entrance from this side, but on the other side there are several exits. It's actually a very large field right behind it, and there are several roads. One of them keeps going in the mountain. Another one just curves around the monastery, going down toward another town. And there's one that goes directly to the monastery. There's also a road that branches off inside of the city, goes in the mountains, because there are several mines in there.
Do you know if this is the kind of monastery that trains martial monks, or the kind of monastery where they just do a lot of praying?
I've only visited it once. I've heard quite a lot of prayers. I even was forced to listen to one in order to have a good meal. But hey, that's the worst they've ever done to anyone, as far as I know. Force someone to listen to a prayer before eating. Goes on for an hour.
Does the monastery have a symbol?
Well, yeah. It's just a very neutral symbol for Augater. It's mostly because it's the one that everyone recognizes. The founder of the monastery actually just followed a very minor god, so not a lot of people know it. This is why when other people actually came to the monastery, they just decided to add the gods which would work best. So eventually Gaugater made its way inside. So they're allies of Augater, which usually speaks well. For you audience, you know that Augater is the most powerful entity representing lawful good. No matter where you go inside of the Shattered Continent, if you are someone of faith, you have heard of Augater. It's unavoidable.
Do y'all have a banner or something with their symbol on it?
I'm pretty sure we have at least one god among ourselves. Yeah, that's right. Your priest friend was supposed to be our contact to them.
Wah, wah, wah.
Audience, do you know what their symbol looks like?
Do I?
Algator, you'd probably know, since it is an extremely powerful entity. Let's see. Have I ever written what their symbol looks like? Yeah.
I want to imagine angry face emoji with a party hat.
Well, actually, the name Algator is known to be Algator, the all-seeing light. So I haven't written a appearance for the. No, actually, I have one here.
So a sun with a party hat.
Sun with an eyeball in it.
Alright. The symbol is the two full moons of the shattered continent, a large pale one and a small dark one on top of the other, hovering over a large circle of which only the top appears at the bottom of the symbol, representing the world of the shattered continent. The background of the symbol is generally gray, the large moon white, the small moon black, and the world has a silver color.
I guess I'm
we
describing.
recreate it? I asked the people of the caravan.
Oh, yeah, we can probably do something with that. Anyone has colors we can use? We can just draw it on one of the tarps.
I mean, I've got regular black ink.
Well, you get one of the dwarf that says, I can probably cook up a few inks for this. It'll be ready by the time that we reach the other side of the city. I'll do my best.
Alright.
It's one of the defender. He just puts down his bow and goes into his backpack and starts pulling out a few different colors of ink and does his best to replicate the colors that you've mentioned and starts drawing. Looks like he's doing a pretty good job with a 21 for his drawing it. So anything else?
Well, when he's done, I would like to hang it up. You said I saw the person following behind us?
Mostly
Or
to the
on my side?
Mostly on your side, so to the right. But like I said,
Yeah, then I'd hang it on the side of one of the caravans. On that side.
Okay. Well, it takes a little while for the dwarf to completely paint it out. It feels like fortunately it's not raining right now, because it feels like if it was, maybe the ink might run a little bit because it hasn't been treated, sealed, anything like that. He's just using his paint to stain a mostly gray tarp so that it looks alright. Fortunately, most of the background is gray, so that also helps. After maybe an hour, he is ready, and you take this, you make it very visible from your side, and time keeps on going. There doesn't seem to be a reaction. None that you can perceive, actually. Anyway, but as you arrive, you finally find yourself in the last few hours of this. And slowly the caravan turns in a little bend in the road, and for the first time you find yourself watching at a clearing in the mountains. One that allows you to see that you are actually looking down in the large valley where this island was initially colonized. You see it from very far up. You'd estimate that you are nearly a mile up. And you see the entire valley. It's not raining right now, so you see the entire northern section of the island on which you are. You can see there's a beautiful lake right in the middle of what you see. You see a few, from where you are, they look small dots, but judging from the map that you have, that you've been given a little while ago, you guess that they are probably the most impressive city that this island chain has to offer. But from your perspective, they pretty much look like marble size dots. But you see the plain and very few trees in front of you. Even the sky looks amazing. There's not a lot of cloud cover. You do notice, however, that you are starting to approach the end of the day. And this is when the ominous feeling catches up to you. Because you realize there's no wind.
You said we're really high up, right?
Yeah. You look behind and you see the city drawing itself. It's barely an hour away, so it's close enough that you start seeing all of the buildings. You see the wall that is in front of it. You're a bit far away to see details of the gate, but you can recognize that the wall is made of stone. And as you look back into the city, the fact that there is no wind sort of hits you double strength. Whew. There's something heavy when you're looking at all of this.
So we have to go through this city to get to the monastery, right?
Well, there's only one way in, but once inside the city, it's not officially a city, but it is very close to one. The main difference being there's not a castle in it. It's very much a very, very large town that is just large enough for if there was a noble person that would decide to come and live here, there would probably be a castle being built. But no one ever came. It's too far outside of the liked areas. So it's still just a very vast town. Probably two smaller towns that eventually became a single one. But there is a sense of eeriness in the city as you look at it. There's a lot of shadows in that cities. You've been used to seeing building no more than 2-story high. This city has building as high as 4-story high. And they loom in the city.
Any
Silent.
chance we could go around it?
There's no obvious one. The caravan master, however, does respond to what you're saying and say, well, not with the caravan. We'd at least have to enter it. I mean, we could try and stay mostly to the side of it. The wall only covers what is exposed, but part of the city is near the cliff, so the wall doesn't go all around it. could probably try and go toward the edges of it. It would take us a little bit longer, but
What do you know about the city? What's the guard situation like?
well, normally
rules
there
it?
are several guards at the entrance. It's a bit of a large gateway. Always around 5 or 6 guards at the front. But since the wall is not complete and only made to fill in holes which would lead out, which would allow someone to try and get in, there's only a few places where there is a wall. It's mostly garrison hedged in the mountains, and a little bit of walls to have them be able to move about. Watch the inside of the city, more of the outside, because there's no way to take siege equipment out. Small groups, competent in mountain climbing, would probably be able to climb the outside of the wall and get in, but that would be very small forces, so they never really completed the wall. There are even sections where the wall doesn't go higher than waist high.
How well trained is the garrison? Do you know?
I mean, there's never been any war in Estrin, so as good as training gets them facing raiders and thieves.
How far is the monastery from here?
Oh, let's see. The city is about an hour away. It's roughly 45 minutes to walk from one side to the other, and another hour out. We'd be getting there close to sundown, but it's roughly 3 hours. A little under. Of course,
Well,
if we start taking detour inside of the city, it might go a little over 3 hours getting there.
No, we should go as fast as possible through the city, because there may be something waiting for us.
Yeah. I like that idea.
All right. Well, then, everyone, saddle up and get ready.
What if I summon some beasts to go ahead of us and check for traps?
I mean, we could use audiences mount for that. I'd say save yours until we know there's something to deal with.
Good idea. How does that sound, audience?
Sounds good to me.
Thanks. Your cat sacrifice will not be in vain.
I mean, my cat can go on the top of things and look down. I don't think it'll be It can get away quite easily.
Oh, yeah.
You get a dwarf looking at you, looking at Jorg, and then... Yeah, it can get away. And he gives a wink at Jorg. It can get away quite easily. Alright. So,
Yeah.
Jorg, the socially awkward one, winks with both eyes.
Looks at the dwarf and yeah. Figures it.
Yeah, I guess.
Go ahead.
Now we just hope that they'll respond to the cat going through.
Okay.
I guess my thought was like, chances are they could get attacked pretty suddenly.
Yeah, I doubt there are any literal traps on the road. I wouldn't be surprised if we get ambushed either at the gate or at some point inside the city. But seeing as we can't take the caravan around the city, and getting to the monastery after dark would be a bad idea. We kind of have to just cut straight through and force our way through if need be.
Yeah.
You see Arunak just look at you when you say this and yeah. Well, you know, it's like he says, and he points toward you, audience. I don't actually know what he says, I just know that he keeps charging head down. So, feel free to fill in the blank.
Yep.
I just nods, like, I guess. Alright, and I guess I'll send my cat ahead.
Alright.
Are these carts like horse pulled or like donkeys or oxen?
More oxen. Yeah, no, they're not built for sprint.
Speed. Yeah.
They really were going for pulling as much weight as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There is enough food in those 3 caravans to feed a lot of people for a good amount of time. So they really were going for that. All right, so everyone gathers up. You see all of the defenders, those left, becoming very nervous, preparing themselves, drawing their weapons, becoming very, very attentive of everything that happens around them. And the caravan starts moving. 15 minutes after, when you think you're reaching right about the limit of where you'd be able to feel your cat, and that it's by the time that your cats arrive in the city, you'd be close enough to feel it. You let it go. So you are roughly 45 minutes away. You start seeing the buildings looming a bit in the distance. You do recognize some elements of dwarven aesthetic in the way that the buildings are made. Some of them are actually very beautifully made, but robust also in how they appear. And as you get closer and closer, it's about a nice time for us to take our break. So, we will be back in 15 minutes to see how entering the city goes. So, take a moment to make room for more snacks or drinks, or just empty your insides so that it feels better. And we'll be back in, well, I keep saying 10 minutes, but we're usually between 12 and 15 minutes. So let's say 15 minutes exactly. Whether everyone is there or not, 15 minutes. So see you back in 15 minutes.
See you.
Bye. Aha! Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to this mysterious moment where the group decides to enter this city that looms in the distance. Well, not much of a distance right now because they're almost there, but hey. So, in case you missed anything, the party has mostly been traveling toward the city and the monastery and figuring out that they're being followed and watched and weird stuff is happening. And that's it. You're completely caught up from the beginning of the session to now. You're missing a few details, but you got the most important elements. So,
and that's what you missed on D&D.
And while we were on break, I realized someone gave bits. That isn't someone that I know. That's so cool. Thanks.
Hey.
All right. So, Jorg, audience, Fisher, Remy, Arunak, and caravan members that I'm not going to name one by one. You're all making your way toward the city. And one thing that you do feel as you're approaching is that the more you approach it, the more it feels like a ghost city. For you, audience, that perception is even stronger as you're getting information from your mount that has gone ahead, which literally tells you that there's no new recent smell as he's arriving, as he's moving forward.
So similar to all the towns we've come across, no people.
No people. But there is a stronger sense of something bad that happened there than on the other ones. The more he approaches, the more he starts smelling faint elements of smoke in printed buildings, a little bit of decomposition, but very faint, and silence everywhere. He's not hearing any dogs barking. He's not hearing any cats. There are a few crows, but that's it.
Alright, I'll relay that information to the caravan that it may be another ghost town, but this one has a much worse feel. Like, all the people, though, seem to not be there. This one has a feeling, though, that something, like, bad happened. Not that the people left.
Right. So as you get closer and closer, of course, the caravan member starts being very nervous. They show signs of anxiety, of, I don't want to go there, but I have to. You even start hearing the non-combatant personnel of this caravan just whispering to one another, especially the one in the first cart and the second one, because the one in the middle cart, right next to you, audience, sort of looks in front, looks at you. He hears everything first, you know. He just doesn't feel like it's gonna be a good day. But you're hearing also the two other carts, the dwarves in the cart, just going, "Why don't we just go back? I don't want to die today."
Oh, I'm surprised we've had honestly, like I'm surprised we've had no deserters, especially after the dwarf was taken. I'm surprised no one's just left.
Because there's nothing around except dead people.
No, I just want audience to comment. It's like, wow, it just feels like a bunch of dwarves were just mutilated here recently.
No, our audience does actually comment. I'm surprised none of you guys have just left yet. I mean, I might have if I didn't have any find. Now give me that.
Suddenly you see the dwarf eyes going
like,
really wide.
It's just like, wait, that was an option?
Where would they go?
The opposite direction.
I need the money.
Anywhere but here. Anywhere but here.
But anywhere but here is surrounded by.
They could go. They could go.
Or here is.
They could, I mean, they know there's a town of thieves somewhere up there. They could just change their ways, become a thief, go join them.
Mhm.
You hear one of the dwarves go, but I need the money.
It's like, how do you feel about making a dishonest living?
Let me ask you again in 10 minutes when we have a bunch of dire wolves like surrounded now.
You hear a faint voice coming from one of the carts saying, I don't want to go.
The non-combatants, do they at least have weapons?
Yeah. Small axes. One of them has what probably looks like a short sword, but a dwarven version of a short sword. So it feels a bit like a broad short sword.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also not well armored. They all have leather armor on them, probably a form of studded leather, but they don't have metal armor or anything like that.
Mm. And we can't take the caravan around, right?
Your caravan master answers you, well, not unless you know a way to make caravan flies.
Nope.
Alright. So, caravan keeps on going. Oh, okay.
Audience, how big is the door of my interdimensional space? I'm kidding.
Doesn't matter how big the door is. The room is not that big.
It's 5 feet wide and about
No, I'm kidding.
10
I'm
feet
kidding.
tall.
I know. That was a joke. just funny, all the caravans.
Just like, get in the fucking room.
It's like when someone tried to stuff a like overfull like suitcase clothes. Just come on,
Everyone,
you can make it
come on.
fit.
You hear someone
the
look at
dimensional hole cuts.
you hear someone look at Jorg and say, "Don't you druid have spells which simulate death? You know, you don't need to breathe. You can just put me in there and close the door."
Yeah. We could probably figure something out.
If you get someone else, that means not today. So shut up.
I do have a pretty steep rent policy though on my.
Of course.
It's actually 5 gold a night to stay in there. So.
Damn. How much are utilities?
You hear one of the dwarf answer to that. Damn, your god asked for lots of money. What sort of... Oh yeah, dragon god, sorry.
Yeah, they're like, what do you expect?
Like, you sure not a rogue? Are you sure you're not a rogue, audience? Because that sounds like robbery.
They're the ones choosing to pay the price. It's not. I'm not taking it from them. They're giving it to me.
No, but one can easily expect a draconic god to be in favor of hoarding riches. You know?
Yeah, have you seen Audience Gold Purse?
No, you mean the bag that you use to beat up people? Alright, so you keep on going, and after another maybe 15 minutes, you think you're about 20 minutes away. Your cat says, well, I'm in the city now.
Alright, I'll tell the cat to go up on the roofs and just kind of like scout ahead of us as we move.
I mean, it looks like landscape from a nightmare. I can see burned scorch mark on windows. There are a few bodies in the street.
Yeah.
And broken doors. But there's not a lot of bodies compared to the size of the city. Oh, and you're gonna have to push the door when you enter. It's been pulled out of its hinges.
And it wasn't a pull door to begin with.
All right, audience will just be like, all right, just keep an eye out for any live movement. Let us know.
Right.
Let me know if you see anything
Right.
moving.
Right, okay. So, keep on going, and the day keeps on getting dimmer and dimmer, and you recognize that you are, the sun is starting to set. It's not so bright outside anymore. Shadows are starting to gather on the smaller rocks, smaller boulders around you, and you eventually reach the front of the walls. 2 or 3 minutes before you stop, you hear your mount say, "Well, that was a close one. There's definitely people looting about. I got chased for a solid 5 minutes by a large orc. Kept yelling at me. He does have a very large tattoo of the wolf head on his shoulder."
I wonder if that's I was going to be like, wonder if that was the brute they're talking about.
Well, he certainly would fill the description.
I'll be like, I'll go to my guy. I'll be like, see if you can lead him away. How fast is he? Can you keep him away from him on the roofs if you climb up the roofs?
I can sprint faster than him, but it's still someone yelling at you, moving faster than the average person.
See if you can lead him away from the caravan when they're gonna come in. See if you can get him to like follow you to maybe like a corner of the city and keep him away as we try and make it through the city.
All right. So just to make sure we're going, we're not gonna meet at some point. I take him left. You go right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I'll tell the caravan leader the plan, and we'll.
Okay. All right, let's
The
go
audience
again.
thinks to himself, my left or your left? Wait, we didn't.
No, we have communications.
All right. So for your cat,
That's not trying to engage at all. He's just trying to like
I know.
basically keep.
he's essentially kiting him away. So I'd like you to roll a acrobatic and an athletic roll for your cat.
Both? Alright,
Yeah.
okay, let me look at my cat's stat. His acrobatics, so that would just be, I guess, just his dex, because he doesn't get my proficiency, I think. So that's +3. Okay, so it's a +3 to that. 2 d20s. Nope, not d12s. D20s.
And that sounds like a major debuff. It's like you don't even get to roll a d20. You have to roll a d12.
Okay. Well, his acrobatics was amazing, and his athletics was terrible.
Okay.
He rolled a 23 on no, not 23. 22 on acrobatics,
Okay.
and a 6 on athletics.
Okay.
So he's ridiculously acrobatic. and not that athletic.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I will ask you to roll a perception roll for your cat because he has reduced option. So you're rolling to see if he finds himself stuck in a dead end at some point. With
Okay,
perception. Yeah.
It's like, damn it! I can't backflip myself out of this situation.
Unnatural 20.
Okay. All right. So, you relay the information to the caravan of what your cat said, and everyone starts gathering up. And as you near the door, just like Magna said, the door has been pulled out of its hinges. You see that it was easy for him to squeeze in, but you're gonna have to remove part of debris, find a way to push the door a little so that the caravan can enter.
Alright, I guess we'll get to that.
Alright.
Yep.
Then I'd say it's, for anyone participating, it's athletic.
Alright. 12 for audience.
Okay.
It's a nat 1 for 8.
Fisher's feeling real lazy today. He picks up a single wood and kind of is just eh.
Yeah.
Kind of leans there on it, watching everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, how can we honor a natural 1? Okay.
Still a total of 8.
I know. So, as you're trying to move away the debris in front, unfortunately, Fisher, you sort of look at all of this, and there's one point where you say, oh, you don't have to move the door that far. It's going to fit. So he starts just pulling on the door slightly, and this is when, audience, you realize, oh shit, because you hear something metal at the top of the door go, and you see the door starting to fall on one side, and you hear it just go.
I'd probably message my cat and ask if anyone noticed.
You hear the answer you get is something that you weren't expecting. Is I'm a bit busy right now. Jeez, it's going through walls. It stops there.
Well, I'll say, all right. Well, if it's going through walls, it's probably making enough noise that maybe it actually didn't hear it. Too busy going through a brick wall or something. So, audience will be like, "All right, let's move quickly."
Well, I got the dart.
Yeah, let's move quickly, guys, as fast as these oxen can go. Hiya! I guess I'm driving a cart too, so I'll slap my reins.
Y'all know
on the
I'm not the
oxen.
quiet one.
Hiya.
Raimi, I just want to imagine everybody, you're Raimi sitting next to Olnak is just in 100% cringe mode about this whole situation.
Alright, I guess we're moving now as fast as a caravan full of oxen can.
So, as the caravan just tries to move quickly, go over the door, and each and every single dwarf looks at Fisher as they're passing by. You enter the city. You immediately take one of the streets that goes right, and you try and make your way inside the city as stealthily as you can. Audience, since you are helming the second cart, I'd like you to make an animal handling roll.
Oh, good. I'm not good at these.
Do you have proficiency in land vehicles?
Nat 20, baby! I don't use it in the
shit.
fight later. I don't want it for the fight later. That's definitely coming. I want it right now. I've been tuned with these oxen.
If you get it now, you don't need it because there isn't going to be a fight later.
You feel a sense of kinship
Drifting
with
an
those
oxen
beasts.
Is the best oxen driver ever.
It's like I get it now. It's because the hunking slab of meat that is audience relates to these oxen on a level that nobody else in this party possibly can.
The caravan is shocked. It's like Fast and Furious, but with oxen.
Yeah, to the point that at some point you don't know really how you manage this, but you realize that you're in front. Yeah. Wasn't I the middle one? Okay, cool. Let's keep going.
Took a jump over some rubble to...
Wait, hold on. Even better. You start sounding like the oxen as you're talking to them, and then Raimi is confused. It's like, when did you learn to do that?
I learned oxen for a solid 5 minutes.
You don't know why, but you hear, instead of hearing whips, you hear and you see the oxen going faster and faster.
Dorg looks at audience confused, wondering when audience learned to speak to animals.
How?
He did that without a spell.
I have much to learn from audience and his god, apparently.
Alright, so you quickly move to the front of this caravan, leading everyone quite easily and skillfully through the city. You manage to dodge out of some debris. You get a few time messages in your mind of your cat saying, "Doesn't that thing ever tires? Jeez! It's climbing up."
You don't tire either. You're a fey creature, so don't complain.
It's climbing up walls barehanded. Smooth walls.
That's actually a little frightening.
Also, I swear when I stuck behind it, it turned its head 180 degrees. How is its neck not broken?
It's talking in demonic.
What are you talking about? This guy's probably so jacked he can't turn his neck more than 15
I'm just
degrees.
imagining my cat, like, at the beginning of this chase, like, super confident, like, jumped up on a building with, like, a smooth wall. The man just, like, climbed it, and then my cat, like, jumped behind another 3 walls. He's like, alright. And then he just sees all 3 walls just shatter. This guy just runs through them.
Yeah. No, because he rolled so low on athletic, he's very nimble. He's getting out of the way, but in terms of raw speed and everything else, jeez, he's really...
The entire chase is just my cat doing parkour.
Essentially.
But, like, not really running.
Like I said, he keeps trying to backflip out of every situation.
Pretty much.
Hey, it's a good distraction. Hopefully.
It's actually probably better than if he rolled good on athletics, because the guy can actually keep up with my cat right now. But
yeah, no, he's basically Jackie Chan. That's hard to say. Jackie Chan it all the way. No, Jackie Chan is not hard to say. It's Jackie Chang in it. That's a bit different. But you skillfully manage to ride through the city with these carts, really taking a curve close to the wall all the way. And you do get the sense of what your cat was saying as you're doing this. This feels like the beginning of a horror play. The smell of things that were burnt, a few dead bodies, mostly city guards. You recognize the type of armor city guards would wear. And they're not wearing huge axes. They're mostly wearing spears and equipment like that, usually worn by defenders or armies. You see a few peasants, but it's mostly the defenders of the city. You quickly catch a glimpse of broken in doors, signs of looting that were just things that were just pulled out, and you see a few debris that you even managed to skillfully avoid. Whew, was that a catch? Yeah! But with such a great roll, you manage to even guide the caravan through the city in half the time it would have taken. Your instinct and your ability to master these oxen is just right on it, right on the money, and you even manage to avoid obstacle which would have tired them having to go around it. You just saw the hole in front of you. It's just enough to pass, and just as you imagined it, it barely just touches the side of one of the wheels, and you just slide in like an expert trucker moving his large van with him. After maybe a good 25 minutes of this, you find yourself looking at an exit. However, the walls around that exit have been completely smashed and torn up. It's like something just grabbed them and pulled. So there's a whole lot of debris. And it's obvious that the city was not attacked from the front, but from behind.
Alright, but can the caravan get out? Or do we have to move more debris?
I was going to say it's a whole lot harder to maneuver through that, but with a natural 20, you have enough to clear the DC of this that you don't find yourself completely pulverizing the wheels and the sides of your cart, and everyone just keeps following you. They lose a little bit of speed, but they manage to clear the debris field. Just as you hear your cat saying, "Are you out yet? This thing just won't give up."
Alright, I'll tell my cat. Are we out now? Are we, like, getting out?
You're just getting out of the walls.
Alright, I'll tell my cat you can start trying to lose the thing, because the caravan will be, like, by the time he loses it, the caravan will probably be out of the city.
Good. The thing almost pulled my tail out.
Alright, do I have to roll a stealth roll for this, or? My guy's trying to lose him.
It goes with all of the roll he made. Perception, yeah, okay, yeah. No, you can try and make a stealth roll. I can just add this to how this is going to work. Go ahead.
Alright, and we're not in the mountains. Even though we're in the mountains, we're in the city now, so we get advantage on this. So it's just going to be 15.
15, alright. Alright, so you move outside of the city and you start making some distance. You're not getting distress message from your cat saying that he's being pulled apart limbs from limbs, so you're confident that he's managing, thanks to your really high acrobatic roll. That removed option, but your perception roll compensated for the low athletic. And eventually you do have a few moments of, you hear a cat, "Alright, it's gone. I lost it. Jeez!" And you hear nothing for another 5 minutes. "I think I got it this time. Whoa."
Can't you dismiss it?
I can dismiss it. But then I have to waste the spell slot to resummon it.
At the same
I
time,
hope
if it,
DM, I hope in the Fey realm, there is like some form of like therapy.
Yeah, sure. I think the Feywild itself is a nasty therapy. Seeing how it reacts to emotions.
I'm
Go
sure
in
this
there.
is not. I'm sure this is not the first time my cat has ran from something, so it'll be fine. It's a Fey.
So, after a moment, you do hear that your cat is. It's good, alright. I'm outside of the city and they're not following. I think.
Okay, well, until you're sure, maybe don't come back to the caravan.
Okay. He moves away. He keeps on doing his best. So, you're outside of the city, and you sort of got the feeling that, alright, you managed to avoid the worst. Whatever that thing was, it was either incredibly strong or boosted like, aha! And it certainly fit the description of a brute. More like a tyrant in Resident Evil.
We
But
gotta take.
you feel like you've heard tales about this, you know, someone talking about zombies invading a city and this monster just keeps... I don't know, it feels like the audio version of this tale that you just heard.
It's okay. Audience will come back later and 1v1 it for honor's sake, but for now, you gotta get to
I mean, honestly, when I first heard Brute, it's just like, oh man, that poor guy. He took that Unearthed Arcana of all things.
Actually, audience will just go find Core at some point and be like, "Listen, I found a guy who wants to 1v1 you. Go to the city."
yeah,
He said you're a wuss.
Yeah, he said he was stronger than you. Go prove him wrong. I'll watch.
Oh, the audience is like, okay, guys, we got to turn around. I can't let that challenge go.
No, you guys keep going. I'll be back.
Alright, so as you move out of the city, of course, oxen aren't meant to run for an hour straight. So, after a few minutes, you start seeing signs that these oxen are reaching their capacity. You know, it's been hard for them, stressed, and they really don't know why. They just had to run for half an hour straight. You feel them slowly slowing down, and you know, they start paying attention to what's around, but you get the feeling that since they're not perceiving anything, they're slowing down. The defenders of the caravan and the other dwarves, however, are still very much on high alert. And why are we slowing? You just another one responds. My oxen just can't do it anymore. It's Are we out of danger yet?
I mean, I wanted to reach the. How far are we from the monastery?
Judging from what the caravan master said, you're about 50 minutes away. You can just barely make the outline of the monastery.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say let's continue. I don't know if we're out. Let's continue to push to the monastery, and then we'll continue.
Maybe we'll
to
make a perception check.
I said I think we may have avoided one of the dangers in the city, but but I'm still not 100% sure. But I'm 80% sure. But let's continue to push to the monastery.
Okay. You get one of the dwarf. You hear a faint whisper from a dwarf saying, if they were heroes, wouldn't they just say, we'll hold them back, keep going? Stories are so...
Hold them back from where? They're ahead
who
of us.
hold who by? They're not here yet.
So, keep on going, and... So, Remy, you said you made a perception roll?
Yeah, I'd like to see them beat natural 29.
Oh yeah, natural 29.
Okay. So, you're slowly moving away.
Specifically, I want to see that ninja. Like, that's what I really want to see.
You're slowly moving away, and the tall towers of the city are slowly disappearing. And you start seeing the towers of rock that are around you, just large boulders that form pillars. You get the feeling that, oh, this must have been part of something before, maybe an official way inside the monastery. Looks old, looks slightly damaged. Nothing that looks recent as damage, but oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of dwarven architecture, so it's easy to guess that, alright, probably this city was not made by dwarves, it was just adopted by humans. Probably was part of a bigger thing before. But as you're moving on, you see the sun slowly setting in the distance, and you get the monastery that is slowly defining itself. It's quite a large monastery. You'd estimate that it's well beyond 500 feet wide. You don't see how deep it is, but it's alright. Decent size. Slowly you see the sun starting to disappear behind you, and you see the shadows of the rock formations around you slowly growing. And Remy, this is when your perception roll notices something. The shadows are growing in a weird way. It's as if they're trying to reach you. You sort of get the feelings of long hands that are trying to pull themselves toward you, to reach you. And this is...
Because Remy... Oh, sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, just because Remy hasn't tried this, but feels like this might at least be a good thing to try. Remy's just going to pull out his lantern and take off the cover. Well, not take off, but
completely remove the shutter. Yeah. All right. At this moment, you also notice one thing that is slightly odd, Remy. From the cart where audience is, from the shadows that are under the cart, you notice something detach, roll off, and then starts moving at the same pace as the caravan. You really have no sense that will allow you to pick this up before it happens. You could try and roll perception for before, but but it has a humanoid shape, and it quickly stands up and looks at all of you and just yells, "What are you doing? Hurry up! They come out of the shadows!" And this person starts running. You barely have time to make out that it's most likely something humanoid. it's moving at an incredible pace, and it has a feminine voice. You just have enough time to notice that it has a black jacket, but it has the wrappings of monks on her arms.
Oh, I
feet.
stopped at the feminine voice, but please keep describing.
She starts running toward the shadows, and just as you see her run, you start seeing heads of wolves coming out of the shadows, themselves running in your directions.
Alright, how far are we at this point from the monastery?
You'd say that you're about maybe at normal pace, maybe 10 minutes. If you just push them as if you can't make it, you die, maybe it's just 1 or 2 minutes.
And how long do I think longest it will be until the wolves reach? Like, are they fully formed or are they not fully formed?
It feels like you're watching them run through the shadows and slowly emerging. You get the feeling that it's a question of minutes before these shadows reach you.
So what I'm hearing is it's going to be real close.
Yeah.
Okay.
We brought the caravan. Okay, so I'm going to say... I'm going to basically hit the raise. I'd be like, move the caravan as fast as possible, and then I'm gonna like basically pull out my mace as I'm driving and try and create as much light around my caravan as possible, and then be like, just go as fast as possible, and I'll yell to Fisher, everyone with a weapon, get to the back. We're gonna try and like see if we can make it.
All right.
Yep.
Create as much light as you can, basically. Also, I'll yell, like, create as much light as you can.
All right.
I'll cast light.
Okay. Audience, you take out your mace. Remy?
I guess, like, Remy would, since he already has his lantern out, just kind of, like, buckle that to his belt, and because of how far away they are, he's going to pull out the short bow instead of the trusty dagger.
Okay. Jorg?
Jorg's gonna get his quarterstaff ready. He doesn't have any spells to create light.
Aw.
You can do other things with them, though.
Prepared. Yeah. How far away are they?
They haven't formed yet. We still got them. They said it was a couple minutes. When we're also, if we push, we're like a couple minutes from the monastery, which is why it's about like we're going to be about equal. Which is why I was saying we gotta like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be about the same.
All right.
Oh, well, actually.
Yeah?
Oh, never mind. I was thinking it's fairy fire, but it's probably not worth the spell slot to...
And you have... Hey, that can work. You even have Orunak joining in from next to Remy because they've been talking and exchanging in whatever way possible for the entire day. So you just see him get up inside the cart, secure himself with one hand, and then he just focuses for a moment, and you start seeing all of these large firefly-like creature appearing in his branch, and 4 of them starts moving away in a pattern around him. He's casting dancing light.
Is my cat, by the way, back with the caravan at this point or no? Did it catch back?
I'd say yes. You can see it. Oh yes, you can see it arriving in the distance. You can see it being being tackled by the shadows. You see it because it's still going with your awesome acrobatics roll. You just see him dodge away and nimbly escape, but by so little. When you see one shadow creeping up right next to him, you see a wolf come out, try to jump up, but he managed to dodge right in time, and you see the wolf disappear in another column of shadow forming. He is being chased right on his heels.
Alright, I'll be like, I'll tell my cat, I'll be like, well, sorry, you're being chased again. Run as fast as you can. We're trying to make it to the monastery. My cat's like, from the frying pan into the fire.
Fire? Isn't that broil? Alright, so the caravan, those driving the caravan try to make it go faster. And they slowly pick up the pace, but you get the feeling that they haven't completely recovered. They weren't able to stop, and they're just not pushing as much. But fortunately, as you are watching this and you're seeing these column of shadows reaching out next to you, with all of the light object that you have the instinct to just shine a light on the column of shadows, just as you see two eyes peering from them, and then suddenly you see the shadow dissipate and the column falls a little bit behind. You manage to push them away like this for a little moment, but you get the feeling that it's not going to be enough. You need to find at least one other thing to do. Because the shadows that are going directly at you, you're pushing them back. But you notice from the side, columns of shadows that are growing, slowly overtaking you.
Well, okay, my caravan's at the front, so I'm probably okay. I'm more worried about the back. I also have...
Jeez, that's not how you should be thinking.
Well, no.
That
I
is
mean,
how
it is.
exactly
No,
how you should be
I'm
thinking.
I'm thinking about, like, I'm probably
can't-
the safest right now. Because also my mace, like, it sheds bright light 20-foot radius and dim light. Like, I have probably one of the best light sources on my...
That's
Well,
the same as
bright
the
light.
spell and worse than Raimi's lantern. But
oh,
it's from a magic weapon, so
I mean, magic always
that
helps.
smites undead shit. So,
Yeah.
um,
So I'm gonna be like, and I'm also in the front, which means I'm gonna reach the monastery first.
mhm.
So is there anything else I can do? I don't think there's anything I can really do to help the people in the back. That's kind of up to you guys to think of
Yeah.
something. I'm just gonna
gonna-
keep basically going.
just start kind of slinging fireballs at stuff if it looks like things start to form.
Can I cast Moonbeam?
Jorg, you got a moonbeam?
Yeah, that's what I was just... I'm gonna cast a Moonbeam on one of the sides and keep it moving with us.
I don't know why. I'd like to picture this moment where Fisher asks Jorg if he has Moonbeam at the same time
And
as
then turn
Jorg
around and
saying
it's there.
that, oh, I think I have Moonbeam. It's sort of a, do you have Moonbeams? Moonbeams, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
The tree also has a moonbeam.
Yeah.
We could get him to do the other side.
He's concentrating on dancing lights right now.
Oh, true. Okay, so we'll have one moonbeam. At least that'll help a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's dim light, but it's something.
All right, I'll tell Fisher you should shoot fireballs at the other side. Just try and
Yeah.
because at least fire will create some
God,
light.
when did Fisher get to level 13?
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, not fireballs, but he can fire.
Firebolts.
Fire bolts.
And, you know, it creates some
Pew,
light.
pew,
Fire creates.
pew.
It'll at least hold them for a little bit. Help a
Really,
little.
I'm trying to hit them if they actually.
Okay, which side?
Yeah.
Which side is the moonbeam not on? Because I assume that's the other. So which side are you putting the moonbeam on?
I was imagining on the right.
Okay, so then I'm gonna say probably the left's gonna be the weakest, because that's the one side we have the least light on. So I guess I'll yell out to get all the guards with weapons to the left side of the caravans.
And can Jorg attempt an animal handling to help get the other two?
Well,
I guess they're not like falling behind, but I don't want them to.
Well, animal handling would mean that you are taking the helm, so you'd be stopping casting spells, and you'd be trying
okay.
to handle the
Never
animals.
Yeah, I'll
You
let them
can
do
if
it.
you want to.
We're just gonna hope the guards can hold the left for a little bit.
Mhm.
Ooh, can I grab a torch and have and try to have Fisher firebolt it, so I don't have to stop and light it.
Well, then I would have to stop and firebolt it, and I'd probably miss a couple times.
That's a good
I don't
point.
think we're going to be able to cover every side.
yeah,
I think
have-
the left.
I have light
Yeah.
going, and then I'm also just trying to
Yeah.
ping anything that appears. But
We're basically gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna be we can cover everything but the left basically because I'm covering the front, you guys are covering the back, and you're covering the right with the moonbeams. We just need to that's why I told all the guards to go to the left.
All
We
right.
just need to get the left kind of slow them down on the left enough for we may lose.
Well,
We might
is-
lose people. Work.
Oranak and Raimi on the back.
Yeah, both using light spells to dismiss the shadows as they're trying to reach the back cart.
So it's the left.
Then, if they're both there, I will move more towards the left, more up the left side.
Okay, so we at least have some of the left side covered with light.
Okay, so
Just with light on my great sword, I guess.
all
It
right.
helps.
All right. All right. So since you're all moving in the carts, trying to position yourselves, Jorg, Fisher, audience, and Remy, I'd like you all to make a dexterity saving throw.
Well, I'm not moving.
Ah, you're not
I'm
moving.
sorry.
All right. So Jorg,
I'm just at the front.
so Jorg, Fisher,
Finally.
for sure. Dexterity saving throw to see how well you manage to hold on.
Jorg got a 19.
Okay.
No way.
Ooh.
Fisher also got a 19.
Whoa.
Was
Plus
that a net
0.
20? Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, like, honestly,
19
Fisher's
is
roll is
better
much
than
more
I
impressive.
expected you guys to get. I really thought you guys were gonna get around 8.
I was really scared because right next to the 19 is where the 1 is.
Yeah, that would have.
And it was almost
Fisher would have
that.
just fallen off the cart.
Yeah, that's what I expected to happen.
All right. And Remy?
Look, I'm a rogue rolling my best stat. I got a 22.
Okay. Oh, I wasn't expecting you to fail this. And fortunately, audience is not getting up. He's just. I am the
I'm
light.
leading. Yeah, I'm leading the way with my base.
All right. So.
Audience is our Moses.
Follow the light. I shall lead you. I shall lead you through the dark shadows to a place
All
of safety.
right. So, hold on. There is one thing.
Oh no, the DM's rolling for the dwarves.
I've
Poor
already
dwarves.
rolled for them.
Oh.
The dwarves are just praying at this point.
No, I just wanted to send Jorg. What?
The hell? He's dead. We lost him. Rip.
No, actually,
Jorg, I'm gonna need you to create a new character sheet.
Yeah.
actually, Jorg, I just sent you a message.
Audience
Okay.
gets to the monastery. He safely. He turns around. It's the back half of his car is missing, and there's nobody else behind
There's
him.
nobody else.
Damn.
He's like, well, I made it.
So, as you are all making your way toward this place, trying to push away the darkness around you forming, the remaining defenders are actually handling themselves quite well. They're firing on whatever they can, but you get the feeling that whenever they hit something, it doesn't hit as hard. But there's enough of them firing, mixed with Fisher firing his firebolt, to push away whatever is trying to get inside, trying to make its way in. You see one head starting to form, and you actually get even to see the body of it. It's a wolf but it really feels like it's running right now, as if it was running from inside the shadow and slowly emerging as it is running, just like a submarine slowly emerging from water as it is moving. You've nearly reached the monastery, and as you arrive, you hear the familiar voice of the monk that you just encountered. Just yell, "Open the door for them!" And you see her appear from a shadow next to one of the cart, almost next to Remy. She just seems to come out of the shadow as if she could travel within the shadows. Just come out, put herself in position, and as soon as she sees one of the wolves attack, you see her fall into an attack mode also of her own. You see all of the ox stopping in front of the door, and you see the door slowly creeping open more and more and more. You see her fend off one of the wolves with a series of kicks, pushing it aside. You see the caravan slowly starting to move inside. You are greeted by faces of monks, which look tired, and as if you were slowly entering into a triage ward. They look that beat up and themselves injured, and they're slowly letting you in. But just as the second cart starts entering, Jorg, I'd like you to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
4.
By the way, I will say the minute that the first cart was through the gate, audience would have like jumped off and basically like ran back to help the further back carts.
Okay. So you jump off.
Maybe audience's
Loose
comment
oxen
wasn't
runs all the
too
way
far
through
off.
the monastery and out the other side.
See ya!
Audience just turns around. He's like, I'm through. He just starts like clapping. You guys got it. Let's go.
Quest succeeded. See ya! Alright, so audience, you turn around and you go toward the back trying to greet them. You see one of the tentacles of shadow creeping on the ground, just trying to reach for you, but you pull your mace up. You manage to dispel it, but you see these image of wolves coming in, and this is when you realize that these tentacles are following the last rays of sun, as you see the line of shadow nearly reaching the door of the monastery.
Yeah, and I'm not going out the door. I'm basically just standing. I'm like basically gonna try and help hold the door if they try and like come through the door.
And just as you see this shadow forming right on one side, you didn't expect this part to be this close and this protected from the light of the sun. Jorg, make your dexterity saving throw, please.
I rolled a 4, or a 2 and got a 4.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, great.
So just as you see this, Jorg, when your cart is entering the front of the monastery, you didn't notice, but you see this wolves jump out of the shadow, grab you, pull you, and Fisher, you just see Jorg. And as you try and reach him, you reach for a shadow. He was just taken it and absorbed into the shadows.
Well, that's not good.
Yikes.
You sort of have this
Yeah, that's
moment
not
of
great.
but the cart keeps rolling in and you slowly enter. Just as the last cart is nearly there, you notice the same thing happen, reaching out toward Orunak. And he just has enough time to look up. He looks at all of you. You see him reach inside where his head is, pull something out, and throw it in your direction. And you see shadows taking him, but you see this little acorn just go toward you.
Ramy's right there, so he catches
Maybe
it.
catch it.
Catch the touchdown pass.
Fisher's got butterfingers.
Catch it.
And just as you catch the acorn and you see him disappear, you see just a few leaves just go.
How's my cat doing?
Your cat is the last one in, as he's jumping above one of the shadowy tentacles, trying to reach up. It misses him, but grabs one of the dwarf and pulls him inside the shadows. But your cat actually makes it in. What did you expect with 22 acrobatic? He just parkoured his way in.
Here's the dwarf, like, gets full of, I got so close and yet so far. He starts...
No!
like 2 feet from the door.
That's when you leave your guard down.
Yeah.
Let your guard down.
And as the last moment of this finishes, the door shuts just as you see one shadow trying to make its way inside, and then suddenly door closing, cutting the shadow, and immediately you see wards appearing on the walls. And you see everyone that's inside of there just... What were you doing outside? Here. Get this man with a gray beard looking at you. He is injured himself. He's doing his best to hold himself up. How did you get here? They've been hounding us for days. You
Audience
hear...
response, we walked.
you hear a feminine voice just appearing from a door, the shadows from inside of a door, just stepping out, and wow! Well, you certainly managed to getting at the last time. Sorry for your companions. I doubt very much they'll survive the night. But who knows? You might find their bodies along the way.
We got a cheerful monk. Love cheerful monks.
From up close, you can actually see her. She's a woman, most likely half-elven, because although she has strong human traits, she has short hair, just enough that you see pointed ears reaching out from under her hair. Strangely, she has a very black, what looks like a black leather jacket. But you do notice when you look more carefully, it probably provides some sort of protection. But she has wrappings of a monk on her hands and feet and legs. And
Audience will gently put his hand on her shoulder and go, "Are you having trouble leaving your goth face?" No.
God, what? What's that?
No. Okay.
Is there like a baluster on top of this wall gate thing? Like a rampart or something?
The older human answers, "We're safe while we're inside. As long as the ward
I'm
holds."
turning around. Can I get on top of the wall?
It's not made for defense. There are windows that allows you to see. You'd have to climb on the roof of what looks like a path that leads. It's sort of a cloister when you look inside. So at the center there is sort of a garden, which looks very dilapidated right now. But you also have covered areas going from the entrance and to the side. You'd have to go on top of the roof of these covered areas to be able to look outside.
Alright, that's the only way to look outside.
And there are windows.
Alright. I'm gonna run over to one of the windows and look out and see if I can see Jorg or the dwarf or anybody else.
You look outside, and the first thing you realize is that there are a lot of wolves pacing, slowly moving along the walls. In the few minutes that you're there, you can number at least 12 wolves just moving in front, pacing, trying to... It looks like wolves trying to figure out, how can I get in?
Alright. In the meantime, while he does that, audience will tell basically the monk who asked him what has transpired. He'll tell him about the death of the cleric and the supplies we've basically brought, and that we've been traveling a ways to bring the supplies that Katrin was asked us to.
The elder human, which you identify not as a monk but as a priest, he looks at you and says, "Well, these are going to help. We haven't eaten in almost a week. We take reserves of water during the day, because even the well, there are shadows at the bottom of the well. Every time we try to open it during the night, they just pour out of it."
Maybe just kind of peeks his head from behind audience and just like holds up a decanter.
Can't have endless water yet. That'll work.
And just maybe just like demonstrate the point, just puts it upside down, uncorks it, and just repeats the word stream, stream, stream over and over.
You immediately see one of them, probably a younger priest, who has arrived because you've drawn a little bit of attention with all of this that's been happening. You see a few priests, and suddenly when they see all of this water, you just see one. Can this last for a while? I'm gonna go get something to put it in.
Yeah, Remy just nods and waits.
You see other priests going away, and at this moment you also see peasants and villagers starting to come out of the different rooms. You see a lot of them. They look beaten up, injured. Some of them walk with crutches, which feels a bit odd. You're inside of a monastery with priests.
Well, she did say they needed medical supplies. That was part of the stuff we brought, so...
That will help.
They were probably...
The older priest says, "That will help. We are using everything we have to hold them at bay during the night. They keep probing the walls, probing the wards, trying to figure out ways to break them. We run ourselves completely ragged, trying to maintain these protections. When morning comes, most of us haven't even slept."
I'll give a nod and be like, "How long?" I'll mention what the guy said, where he said the monastery would fall in only 2 days. I'll be like, "So do you think the wards will fail soon?"
No, but before you arrive, we were looking at starvation and thirst.
How long do you think we have with the supplies we brought?
Hopefully enough time to find a way out. It's almost a week to get out of the mountains. They attack everything that gets inside the city. It's their point. They attacked there almost 2 weeks ago. And they just started to take prisoners. They killed a lot of people, but they took so many prisoners. You hear a peasant go, "My wife was among them. I've been praying ever since. I'm hoping that they took prisoners because they don't intend to kill them. Do you think it makes sense, Holy Knight?"
Audience will put his hand on him and be like, "I have had friends," and he'll look outside, with a tear in his eye. Because he'll be like, I have had friends before, even the one now that have been taken, and I have heard from some of them that we came across that old friend still might be alive, and he was taken many, many months ago. So there is a chance. They do not seem to necessarily kill all their prisoners. Have hope. And he'll hold up his mace. All of you, where there is still light, there is hope. We can make it through this.
I'll go with persuasion. Make a persuasion roll with advantage because of your mace.
Alright.
You look like a beacon of light, so
18.
18, alright. So the speech that you just give and the show of your mace in front of everyone, you suddenly see it feels like at least some of the priests and many of the peasants and commoners that are coming out of the door suddenly all look toward you, and a lot of them seems to have a sense of a weight being lifted off, hope coming back.
Be a real shame when I let them all down, but you know.
The monk woman, she looks at you and she says, well, if you're here to help, that'll be very welcome. I'm doing everything I can, but I only have 8 hours a day that they can explore. Otherwise, every time the shadows come back, they just keeps attacking again. So, it'll be a welcome help. Or maybe I can stay in for once and help protect the walls during the night. If you guys wouldn't mind trying to go outside during the day. But if not, if you have your own things to do, that's fine also. I'll just keep going out, trying to find more food, make us last longer.
Is there a way, I was going to say, do we have are there any long-term solutions to this? Do you know, have anyone tried to figure out why the wolves can come out of the shadows, or any hints to that? Any way we could try and stop it?
The woman answers you and says, why exactly? No, I don't. I just know that they showed up a few weeks ago, and ever since their reach has been increasing every single day, taking more and more people, and they took choke points like the city outside, and they've been terrorizing people into leaving their towns. But as soon as they reach the cities, they just get taken.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, there are some connection with shadows. They seem to be able to summon these wolves out of shadows whenever they want, and in large quantities. I've seen 5 of these priests just summon an army of over 100 wolves. We barely managed to put up wards here.
Do we know where the priests are located?
No, we don't. There are several possible places in the mountains, but I've been mainly making only runs for food in the cities, doing my best to hunt.
Okay.
I've actually managed to kill a periton a few days ago. Kappa got a few days of food to another group that's right at the edge of my reach for a single day. They just don't want to come out. They're really afraid of falling into an ambush. So,
yeah. Well, our goal, I'll tell her. So our goal is, we have a few groups now that have came, adventurers who have come, and our goal is to try and end this threat of the hunter cult. But we will take some time, as best we can, to at least try and protect the monastery and see if we can perhaps by protecting the monastery find a way to perhaps cause a crushing defeat to the hunter cults. Perhaps we can figure out a way to perhaps find some of these cultists and stop them and maybe save this monastery once and for all. I will contact my other adventurers in the morning, as our communication does not work at night, and see what they are up to and perhaps what a plan could be, perhaps trying to I'll update them my information. I can give you more information in the morning, basically.
You wouldn't have by any chance a mean to reach individual outside of your group?
I don't think so.
It's a shame. You said they're a cult. I know someone in the valley right now. He'd probably be able to give us a lot of information. He is let's just say he is very, very knowledgeable of mythology, ancient gods. It's too bad.
We have... Let's see, I don't know. I'll pull out... We have the, that hunter stone, if it could be, like, repurposed, but I don't know if it could be. That's, I think, the only other communication device we have. And then I have a cat that can travel a mile that can talk to me, but if he's past a mile, I don't know. We might have to make a... How far away is he?
Oh, he's in the valley. He should be arriving near Otanel, I'd say in about a week.
Oh, okay, so he's quite far, so... Does he... Have you ever seen... I'll pull out a coin. Have you ever seen one of these on his person?
Well, I haven't seen him in a month, but no, last time I saw him, he didn't have anything like this. But it's funny, though. He did say he met someone with this.
Oh, interesting. What's his name?
Well, if you met him, you'd most likely remember it. He's very hard to miss, but he is known as the Silver-Tongued Bard.
Okay. I cannot contact him directly, but I could try and contact... We said he's near Othanel?
He's going to be there in about a week. So he's probably a little bit out. He tends to move about a lot. As you might have guessed, with someone who knows that much about history, he spends most of his time.
If there have been any sightings. I think the Silver-Tongued Bard is someone who at least our group is aware of, so I could ask if there's anyone in the vicinity of him that could maybe communicate with us to him tomorrow. I'll see if there's anyone.
Rami is going to minor illusion the bowing image of the Silver-Tongued Bard.
When you do, she looks at you and says, "Oh well, I see you met him." I hope he was as eloquent as ever.
Rami nods and kind of a bit in a bit of a shy way.
Right then. Well, if you can reach him, he'd probably be able to give us more information about a cult. If not, well, that's alright. If we make it out, you'd probably be able to ask him a few questions. I know roughly where he's going, so depending on how much time has passed, I'll probably be able to tell you where you should go if you want to meet him. But for now, the night is slowly falling, and I get the feeling that a lot of people are going to be hungry. And apparently your friend can make a lot of water. He's going to be very popular.
Yeah, it just hasn't stopped this whole time. Just like people just like bring like a line of buckets and just like.
Unfortunately, I'll look around. I'll be like, unfortunately, our friend who was taken could have also made quite a bit of food, but.
Oh.
Unfortunately, he was taken.
Well, if what you say is true, and they do take a lot of people, I don't know. Maybe we'll be lucky and they haven't taken him very far.
We'll look for him. Another thing we'll do in the morning.
Yes,
For now-
I do would advise that you don't go out during the night.
Yeah. And your name is? I'll say. I'm Audience, by the way.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. Well, depending on where you are, if you're from the north, you're most likely going to pronounce my name Neifa. But if you're from the south, you're probably going to end up calling me Neifa. So, whichever works best for you.
I'll put-
You get the feeling that from what she said, there's something specific in her name, in the way that it's written, that the northern half of the world usually pronounces a way, and the southern half a different way.
Also, she's definitely a traveler because if she knows that, then she's been to both.
Yeah.
All right, added it to my notes.
The question is, to which
It's not
notebook?
important right now. It's not important.
As soon as everyone goes to sleep, he starts adding it to the other notebook. All right.
All right.
Again, adding them to the hit list.
Raimi also pulls out a notebook. You see?
Yeah. Well, there's something to think about. Audience, you can't help but to notice that there's it's another monk. You seem to have a thing for monks and bards.
I do have a type. All right. Okay. I guess for now, Audience will go and start trying to help. Pass out supplies and everything like that. Be helpful in any way he can.
All right. So, audience, you go ahead and help as many people as you can. Remy, you probably start filling each and every single barrel they get to you. Just pouring more and more water inside the barrels.
Yeah, it's just like, even though his arm is starting to get tired, he also recognizes that geyser might accidentally destroy the barrel. So it's just like,
So you fill up their reserve of water. Fisher, as you see all of this happening, as you take in the environment, it looks like a pretty standard monastery. There's the cloister that you just entered. At the back of it, you see a lot of living buildings. Not in the sense that the buildings are alive, but probably where everyone lives. There's probably a dormitory somewhere in there, a kitchen, a place of prayer. You've seen a few while you were in Kohornathil. There's quite a few monasteries in both half of the cities. Is there something you'd like to do?
I'm watching wolves.
And they're watching you back whenever they can. They are relentlessly, patiently pacing. And you get the feeling that they are really, really paying attention. And you even see what the priest meant by they keep prodding the walls. As at one point you see a group of wolves just stopping, looking at the walls. You look at where they're looking and you see one wolf just starts running and slamming the wall. And it just bursts into, as if it was consumed by light. But you see also the glyph on the wall just go. And 30 seconds later, you see a priest arriving and just making a prayer, and you see the glyph of the wall just go. The priest looks at you and just says, they never stop. I don't know how many they have, if there's even an end to this, but it's been like this for so long. At least it feels like forever.
You look like you could use some food.
Oh, we'll let the peasant eat first. We'll go next.
It's like, don't worry about me, Sonny. I have my bowl of oatmeal.
If you're too tired to keep going and the wall goes down, they'll die anyway.
Well,
go get yourself some food.
I need sleep more than food. I'll sleep when the sun comes up. Don't worry about it. Thanks. And he goes back to his patrol. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Jorg, all I can say is that after what happened, you sort of realize that you're not dead. But you are in a small space. You see a few dwarves when you recognize from the caravan. He's just there looking very, very scared. Very alert. You see the petrified remains of Orunak inside the room. It's just on its side like this. Petrified in the last motion that he made when he threw the acorn. And you see maybe another 10 peasants or commoner just all there watching at one another, and there is a sense of lethargy from them. So just they completely resigned themselves to, we're gonna die anyway. So just barely look up at you and look back down. And you see guards standing in front of the door. But you can also see the moonlight from where the door is. Meaning you're close to a wall that's facing outside. In your mind, you can't help but to hope that this wall is not too far away from the monastery where most of your friends managed to enter. But for now, you are a prisoner.
Alright.
And this is where we're going to end tonight's stream. So, for those of you who might be wondering, yes, Jorg is going to miss one session, which is why he is a prisoner in a place that feels like there's no way out. So, and fortunately, he rolled really bad, so I didn't even have to work for everything to fit.
It was lucky.
The dice were with the scenario, and that's always fun. So, I hope you all had a pleasant evening. I see that a lot of talking was done, which is great. I love it. And I even got bits, so that's cool. It's really cool. Well, you know, it's probably going to get more normal as time go by, but yeah, it's really new for me right now, so it's kind of cool. So thank you a lot. I hope you had fun. I hope you will be there next Wednesday, because this is when you're going to see the next part of, well, this adventure. So until then, as always, remember, if you want to support the stream, you can follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, or subscribing to the Twitch channel. all of these options, you can all find links below the window. If you're on Twitch, on one of the panels that are below. If you're watching this on YouTube, because it's you're not watching this as it's happening, it's below the in the description. You'll have links for all of those. If you came in late, don't worry too much. There is a rebroadcast on Friday, although it's for a time frame that is better suited for the Eastern audience. So if you live in the West and you want to watch the rebroadcast, it's a little bit earlier. So it's for Eastern time. It's 7:30. So I think it's 4:30 for the Western. But hey, if you live in the East and you missed it, you'll have a second chance there. And of course, there's always the VOD. I haven't blocked it for non-followers or anything like that. And of course, if you want to help the channel, you can always simply spread the word of our channel, because the more of you there will be, the more interesting the chat will become, and well, the greater this small community is going to become, and cool thing can happen when a community starts to grow. Probably gonna start trying to figure out if there's a way to make near emotes. That could be cool. Having to find someone to draw them. But hey, that could happen. So, thank you for watching. See you next Wednesday for the new episode, or Friday for the rebroadcast. And as always, stay safe, and especially in these last few months of weird times, stay healthy. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.